Assassin's Creed Mirage gameplay, that is what we want to see. Now the time of recording is mid-November 2022 and so far we haven't seen any gameplay. I've talked about in previous videos why we might not have seen gameplay so far, when we might see some, but in this video I'm going to be talking about what I want to see and what we should see when the gameplay is finally released. At this point, I'm starting to think gameplay won't be coming for a few months now at least. So on the off chance that somehow somebody from Ubisoft is watching this video, because I do know they do stay up to date with community stuff, as well as the off chance that they haven't put together a gameplay presentation yet, I'm going to be presenting some ideas that I want to see in the gameplay trailer based on the community as a whole, how if they're trying to win our hearts back to the series, it's what they need to show. I'll be honest, my hopes are not too high for this game. I can get carried away with myself and get really hyped up the more I talk about it, but when I'm at a level head, I do start to feel that maybe it isn't going to be as good as we believe. As we know, Ubisoft is saying Assassin's Creed Mirage is going to be a return to form, back to basics, a return to its roots. If that's the case, these are things we need to see in gameplay to show that to us, to convey that message to us. No, we're not just saying it's back to roots, it really is back to roots. It really is a classic Assassin's Creed once again. So without further ado, let's get into the things that I think we need to see in Assassin's Creed Mirage gameplay when it finally releases. And of course, if you end up agreeing with my points, or you want to add to it, or you just like what I do here, then feel free to press that subscribe button so you don't miss a video when I do upload, and stay in the loop with everything Assassin's Creed and Assassin's Creed Mirage. Let's go. So one of the main issues a lot of people have with the most recent Assassin's Creed games is it's nothing to do with the Assassin Order. Okay, maybe this game's going to be the Hidden Ones, but the last games were to do with the Hidden Ones and they didn't even have too much to do with that as well. A game like Valhalla, for example, yes, it included the Hidden Ones, it included things you could find and read, like the dungeons you could delve into to get the assassin mental gear and the letters you could read, but it was few and far between, and as a story point in the main story, there was nothing really to do with the Assassin Order, the Hidden Ones. What a lot of people loved about the older Assassin's Creed games was the philosophy behind the Order, the beliefs. How do they see the world, what do they believe, and why they fight their fights. That was what we loved to delve into with the older games, and I went into a lot of detail on that on my most recent video, an Assassin's Creed 15-year anniversary retrospective. The link for that is in the description. So if Assassin's Creed is returning to its roots, returning to basics, I expect them to show us at least a glimpse of the story when it comes to this gameplay presentation. I'm not saying show us too much, because if you show us too much, it ruins the element of surprise, of intrigue. What I loved about the older Assassin's Creed games is it wouldn't show too much, but it would show just enough to be like, oh, I wonder why this is happening in this cutscene that they've showed in the trailer, and I wonder how that's going to play into the main game, and let's just play the game and see and find out. It was very intriguing, very exciting, it really hyped us up. If we're going to see small story elements, which I think we should, when we finally see a gameplay presentation for Assassin's Creed Mirage, I think it should be shown sparingly. It should show Basim as a character, his personality. It should show characters that are involved heavily in the game. Not all of them, but the ones like Roshan, etc. And to add to that, I think it should show their main struggle, their main fights right now. Who are the Order of Ancients, the Templars in this game? What faction do they represent? How are they fighting against the Hidden Ones at this time? And what influence do they have over the world you reside in? Again, we don't want to see too much, but we just want to get a vibe, a feeling. We want to get a taste of what's to come. So story-wise, overall, I think we need to be drip-fed, just shown a little bit of the main Assassin Templar struggle, maybe a little bit of the philosophy between the fight, as well as the main focus, which is probably going to be Basim and his inner conflictions, his transformation to Loki. I will say this one more time because I can't stress enough how we don't want to see too much. We just want to see a little bit, and with this stuff, I think less is more. For example, maybe we see in between gameplay a cutscene. You assassinate a target in the gameplay presentation and it goes to a confession room scene where Basim and this enemy discuss and debate their conflictions, their beliefs, the truth, or what they see to be the truth. We don't have to see the whole scene, but just a little bit to show us what is to come, what we can look forward to, and it's going to be something that remains on our minds until the game releases, hyping us up even more. And Ubisoft, I know you like numbers, so it's probably going to drive more pre-orders. And that's one thing I will also say. I've spoke to tons of people in the comment section, people that I know and myself, that believe we're not going to pre-order the game until we've seen how the product actually performs. If you show us gameplay and we like what we see, we'll pre-order. But until then, we're going to have to hold our money back because we don't want to be disappointed. Just throwing that out there. Next, I think it's important to mention that we don't need to see any Isu or modern day elements within this gameplay presentation, these trailers. What I loved about the older Assassin's Creed games is you knew there was going to be the ones who came before, there was going to be Pieces of Eden, and there was going to be modern day segments. But the trailers didn't show any of that, which I always loved. Even as a little kid, I knew if I waited and I saw it within the game, it would hit that much harder, the emotions would be that much stronger, and it would get me excited leading up to release. I knew there was stuff that I haven't seen and stuff that I would have to find and unravel myself. So when you show us gameplay, if there are Pieces of Eden within the game in some way, we don't need to see it in gameplay. If there are the Isu in some way, which I suspect there probably are, seeing there was an Isu temple below the Castle of Alamut, we don't need to see that in the trailer. Show us that when we actually get our hands on the game. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying there's loads of gameplay we don't want to see. We very much want to see gameplay, and we very much need to see gameplay, but it's the amount at which you show which is so important. Of course, this is story-related stuff, but we want to see just enough to excite us, to get us an understanding of what we're probably going to be going into without getting rid of that level of intrigue, that level of mystery. Now we're going to talk about what we actually want to see gameplay mechanic-wise. Again, Ubisoft are saying it's a return to its roots. So, if that's the case, what sort of gameplay will reflect that? Will we see social stealth, sitting on benches to evade pursuit of enemies? They are saying they're bringing back the use of throwing knives, smoke bombs, and more. So show us that. We'd love to see it. How are these gameplay mechanics executed? Are they similar to the older games? Are they completely new systems? If it's done well, we're going to love it regardless. If it's done well. The same goes for parkour. We've been talking for ages about how certain developers have hinted at the game going back to Unity style parkour, which means flashy animations, being able to glide from one side of the city to the other without touching the ground, and overall a satisfying feeling when climbing, when traversing, something we didn't see in Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla. They were very much more dumbed down, and I'm not going to say whether that's bad or better, I'm just saying that's how it was. They were dumbed down compared to the earlier games. And you could say Unity's parkour was in a way dumbed down from the first Ezio games. But again, whatever the parkour will be, Unity or not, we'd love to see it. And we need to see it. And of course, I think it goes without saying, we need to see combat, we need to see stealth combat, and we need to see, full frontal combat, if that's what you're going to call it. At the end of the day, this game is said to be revolving around stealth, which is great for me to hear. I love that. I love stealth games, and when I played the older Assassin's Creed games, even the most recent ones, I always tried to remain hidden. I'm a hidden one at the end of the day, or I was an assassin at the end of the day, but now I'm a hidden one. What happened to my voice there, mate? But if stealth fails, an enemy sees you, an alarm is raised, you're going to be in a fight, and that's just the way it goes. So, however that combat's going to be, again, we should see that. We need to cover all gameplay bases, and combat is no different than stealth, is no different than parkour. We need to see everything. So to recap what I've said so far, story-wise, character-wise, we need to see just a little bit here and there, but not too much. And then when it comes to gameplay mechanics, we need to see as much as you're willing to give. Next, I want to talk about the world of Baghdad and the surrounding areas. I think it very important to be able to see the world as it is, to see the different districts of the city, to see how they work in with the current story, the current characters, and gameplay. I would personally prefer not to see the entire city, every district, but perhaps in this gameplay presentation you are placed in Kark, or the House of Wisdom, and you're infiltrating an area, and it's a black box mission that the gameplay presentation shows. That sounds amazing, and it's going to give us a real good taste for what the rest of the world's going to be like without showing us everything. Show us one district, or maybe show us tiny little bits of different districts with a little bit of the countryside thrown in, but we don't need to see everything because I want to explore everything for myself. I want to get a taste of what I can explore so that I'm compelled to pre-order or maybe to buy when it comes out, and then when I get the game, I'm then compelled to explore to find out the rest of the world. I think the world you reside in within a video game is just as important to be shown as gameplay. You're playing the gameplay resides in this world, so the world is just as important. Of course, in an Assassin's Creed game, the world has always been and probably will always be one of the most important factors. Now, the world isn't the most important factor, history isn't the most important factor, because what made a good Assassin's Creed game good, in my opinion, was the main focus being the Assassin-Templar struggle, the beliefs, the ideologies, the characters that were overlaid upon history. The history was an underlay. The history was great. The main focus was always the Assassins versus the Templars, and the history was kind of almost the backing to that story. And again, that's just my opinion, but that's what I loved about the older games. So there you have it. Those are, in my opinion, the most important things we need to see when it comes to Assassin's Creed Mirage gameplay, whether that's leaked gameplay or whether that's official gameplay. When we see it, we need to see enough to keep us on board, enough to show us that what you're saying, what you're claiming is true. We are going to have a good Assassin's Creed game, but not too much to the point where we've seen it all. Not too much to the point where it removes mystery, it removes intrigue, it removes hype almost. For me, Assassin's Creed Mirage is the last chance, and I've made a video about this before, but it's the last chance when it comes to Ubisoft games. If it isn't what it promises to be, if it's full of microtransactions, if it's full of a game with not much content, and it's, again, a shell sort of product, I definitely will not be playing future games because I don't want to be let down again and again and again. So I give this one the benefit of the doubt. Whether I should or not, I don't know. And if it's good, then great. But if it's lies, or if it's misleading, or if it isn't really a return to roots, it's actually just a skin of the older games on top of what is the new model of games that they make. I gave you the benefit of doubt, but I will be I'll be passing up on the next one. Anyway, love you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy, then press the like button and that subscribe button so you don't miss a video when I do upload, and you stay in the loop with everything Assassin's Creed Mirage and Assassin's Creed in general. Once again, I will quickly plug my most recent video that I made, a retrospective video on Assassin's Creed 15 years later. It's definitely the biggest piece of work I've ever done when it comes to this sort of stuff. I'm very proud of it, and I think a lot of you guys will be able to enjoy and relate to the video. So if that's something you want to enjoy, then check it out, I guess. May the Father of Understanding guide us. Well, fuck those Templars. I love you guys. I will see you soon. Goodbye.